It's not for you, to be honest with you. But it is obligatory upon you to know that. يعني ليس أمر متعلق بالرجال ولكن أنت كرجل عليك أن تلم به. طبعا هتقول لي لسه ما اتجوزتش، برضه تعرف لحد ما تتجوز تعرف إن شاء الله تعالى. I'm not gonna go يعني talk about marriage. يعني I'm talking about things relevant to our wives, our mothers, our sisters, women, stuff. And it's related to the cleanliness or the tahara. Okay? اليوم إن شاء الله تعالى نتحدث عن أنواع مختلفة من أنواع الدماء التي تصيب المرأة وكيف تتطهر منها. ولكن before, يعني today we're talking about different types of blood that happens, or bleeding that happens to the woman. What's the ruling on that blood? What should she do when she has this blood, and how she clean herself from that blood? But before that, we have to understand that the education or the Shari'i knowledge of your wife, and sometimes your mother, and sometimes your sister, it is obligatory upon you. But let's talk now about the wife. If your wife doesn't know a ruling and you're not teaching her, you are responsible for that. So teaching the woman the minimum of her Shari'i knowledge, it's your obligation. To be honest with you, sometimes they teach us. Sometimes if she is, mashallah, she has knowledge, or she exposes herself to halaqahs and she get knowledge from different ways, she teach us. But the standard is you are responsible for teaching your wife her Shari'i knowledge. Okay? And if she doesn't know, it's your problem. If you cannot, and if you don't have that knowledge, you go and you ask. Remember, you know, if you guys know this, somebody went to the doctor and start complaining. What's wrong with you? You know what, this part hurts me of my body. So he touched him, nothing wrong with him. No, I think the other side. I think she told me that. So he was basically what he was doing is that he was complaining, trying to tell the doctor what his wife complained from. So he's getting himself checked for his wife. Based on that, which is, you don't have to do that at the end of the day. If she needs to be seen by a doctor, preferably a female doctor, if not, it's a necessity and she has to go through it. But if you don't know the Shari'i knowledge, the ruling on that matter, you have to, listen, you have to go and get her the ruling on that matter. You have to. Type. I'm shy. You know what, how come I go to the sheikh or to the scholar and ask him about the blood? What are you talking about? I'm shy. They said that you have to allow her to go and to ask. أولا على الرجل أن يعلم زوجته، فإن لم يستطع أن يذهب ويأتي لها بهذا العلم بالتحديد، هذه الشيء التي تبحث عنه. فإن لم يستطع عليه أن يسمح لها بأن تذهب وتتعلم. يبقى ما ينفعش يخليها في البيت. I can just lock her inside the house and she cannot go out, she cannot do this. That's not the proper way. It is your responsibility at the end of the day. There are different types of blood and bleedings that happens to the woman. Number one, dam al-hayd. Al-hayd, which is the period or the menstruation. What are the ruling on that? طبعا هو دم يخرج من المرأة في حال صحتها. So basically it's a type of blood or bleeding that happens to the women on a regular basis, which is the period. And it has nothing to do with the sickness, because there is different type of blood. Not every blood or every bleeding that comes from the wife or from the woman is hayd or is menstruation. So she's healthy, she's okay, but still bleeding on a monthly basis. And this is the main sign on the puberty or the maturity of the woman. maybe 9 years old. She start getting her period or menstruation. She's valid and she's, responsible for all of the requirements of that. She has to start practicing everything at that time. It comes in different colors, and I'm not going to go in details about that unless you guys will ask me questions about it. But it starts with a color and ends with a color. First, starts with a very thick and dark red, close to black color, blood, and ends with a white. Between these two, this is the menstruation period. It becomes red, becomes yellowish, becomes brownish, whatever it is, but until the white color comes out from her, or discharge actually comes out, she is in her period. How long is it? وَأَقَلُّ مُدَّةَ الْحَيْض لَمْ يَرِدْ عَنْهَا. There is no minimum. Like you can't say the minimum of the haid is 1 day. Some ladies, they get just 1 drop. That's few hours and she's done. So you cannot say that there is a minimum for that. But the maximum, the scholar, they talk about it. Because some ladies, listen to this. I used to work, this happened with me, in a place in the States, in one of the states. مش هقول بقى فين عشان in Las Vegas. We used to work in Islamic school. Every day we get the kids for Zohar prayer. We get them together. I have 2 teachers, Muslim teachers, one for Arabic and one for Islamic studies. I'm the imam, so I lead the salah, and they are responsible for taking care of the kids. And then one has to pray with this group, one has to pray with this group. Then I have this sister, mashallah, she was a very smart teacher, Arabic teacher from one of our countries. And in 2 years, I'm not joking, in 2 years she doesn't pray. طب أنا خلاص she doesn't pray. How come you convince those kids that we teach them prayer? She doesn't pray. Then, to be honest with you, and I asked her a couple of times, I have the period, I have the period, I have the period. What's wrong with you? Then I went to the principal or the founder, whatever. So I told him, I don't care about person doesn't pray. It's khalas. She knows that it's obligatory, she doesn't pray. But the problem now that we're teaching those kids. If I don't pray, imagine that I'm getting everybody to be enrolled for prayer and then I leave them. Go pray. I don't pray. They will never pray, the kids. So I was worried about that. So we brought her. She said, I'm always like that. She told us, I'm always have the haid. Can a person say that? Is it acceptable in religion that a person even there is a bleeding day and night? Can we accept that as a haid, or it goes to a different ruling later on? So, do we have a maximum or not? So take it this way. The ulama, they said that either 13 or 15 days. Because it's a problem for many other things. It's not that somebody doesn't pray. You have to talk about fasting. You have to talk about the relationship with the husband. You have to talk about many things. About reading Quran, about many things. Like if a person, if she is bleeding all the time, it's not haid, it's not menstruation. So the maximum is between 13, which is the opinion of some scholars, and 15. More than that, no. We'll talk about something else, which is istihada, and it's totally different ruling. Because what is forbidden for the women or the menstruating women, it's not forbidden for somebody who is bleeding. For a sister in the hospital bleeding, she's okay to fast and she's okay to pray, and we'll mention the ruling on that. So, أكثرها لم يأتي بها دليل يحددها متروك لعادة المرأة. So, the standard is not for you or for me to decide. This is something that happens every month to a person. Like if you have a habit of doing something, you don't even think of it. It happens without thinking. For her, she knows the maximum. Some ladies 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, 13, 14, 15, we're okay with that. Up to 14, up to 15. That's, as the scholar they said, فإن من الفقهاء من قال أكثر مدة الحيض لا تزيد عن 10 أيام ومنهم من قال أنها تصل إلى 15 يوما ومن اعتادت شيء عملت به. So she can go up to the 15 days. Then after that, we'll talk about something else. And we said the sign that this blood ends with is the white discharge. Before that, we'll talk about the colors and the ruling on that. Okay. Once that discharge, or she knows that that's normal time for her period, she has to take a ghusl right away. What ghusl? Just to go to the shower and comes out? Or what do you think the ghusl that the woman should take? احنا اتكلمنا عنه last week. We talked about it last week. We were discussing, I said clearly, if you go to the bathroom with the intention and you take shower and you go out, you fine. But however, there is a way that the Prophet ﷺ explained, which is, and I need somebody to summarize this quickly. Who attended last week the fiqh? فيش الأمين بس مش معقول كان في كلكم كنتوا موجودين هتنصبوا ولا إيه؟ Who attended last week? I need somebody to summarize the process of doing the shara'i ghusl from janaba. The way that we explained last week. Go ahead, brother.
First of all, the niyyah.
The niyyah.
And then Bismillah.
Bismillah. Good.
Wudu.
Wudu. Wudu before or?
Istinja first?
Yes. Not istinja. It's cleaning the private parts and the place that has the impurity. Very well. And then number 4?
Number 4,
Wudu. 5?
5 and start.
Right, left, and then the whole body. And then in between we said you need to do the takhleel, or making sure that the water goes to every part, or the pieces of the roots of the hair. What else, I mean, we said, if I forget anything?
Washing the hands after washing your private.
Yes, one of the things that you wash after washing your private parts, you make sure that you wash your hands. And we said that wudu and that ghusl is enough for you to go out and you pray. No problem with it. That ghusl includes your wudu. You don't have to do, don't make it a habit that after you finish, you make wudu, unless, as we talked about it long time ago, that you touch your private parts, and we explain on that, and you need to make another wudu if you follow Masalan, for example, the Shafi'i madhab on the truth. So she does the same process. But with her, it's a little bit harder. And a little bit she has to be more cautious about it. Because sometimes they have long hair, they have braids. She has to make sure that the water goes to the roots of the hair. It's your job, not her job. It's your job to teach her and to make sure that she's following that way. So the intention is very important. Like the woman during the period, she takes ghusl, for sure. She takes shower every day. Again, after her intention is the tahara min al-hayy, to get clean from the blood of the menstruation. Okay? And then right away start doing or acting and practicing her act for sure. Is there a period, if we're talking about the period of the time limit for the period itself, is there a time limit for the cleanliness or the tahara period, which is not the height, like say that it's 15 days? No. We're talking about that limit for the period, for the menstruation, and no limit for others. For the other time in which she doesn't have the menstruation. Okay? Simple. Okay, number 2 of the blood that happens to the wife or to the women is the postnatal blood. This is the blood blood that comes or when the woman bleeds after what? النفاس. اللي هو after giving birth. The ulama about the timing, minimum, no minimum. Some of them they don't even give blood at all. And the maximum, as the scholar said, it's 40 days. Unless, they said that unless this lady gives birth or give birth for many children and she knows that her nifas is 50 days or 60 days and the maximum is 60 days, 2 months. So the maximum 40 for normal, for everybody. Like let's say that for a few days she's giving blood, she's bleeding, and then a few days before the 40 days she's done, but drops here and there, at the 40 days she should be okay. However, she can, know that, it's only 20 days, her nifas, her postnatal blood, 40 days, 20 days, 15 days, 2 days. She knows, and the blood ceases or stops. Alas, she takes the Shara ghusl and she starts practicing and doing her ibadat. Okay? طيب. What is forbidden? What do you think it is forbidden on the women to do during the hayd and nifas? I'm asking you. Salah, الصيام, الجماع. Okay. So if you're comparing between janaba and hayd and nifas, what's different? If you make a comparison between the janaba, which is the major impurity, and the hayd and nifas, what is the difference?
You have a choice. You can go and say ghusl at any time when you have janaba, whereas when you have hayd and nifas you can't.
So everything is forbidden on the women during the nifas and hayd is forbidden to the women and men during the janaba? دي اللي أنا عاوزها دي. What's the difference? والجماعة الصيام والجماعة. جزاك الله خير خليفة. So the difference here is the janaba for hayd is wider. What's forbidden for the woman during the hayd is more than what's forbidden for the man and woman during the janaba. The janaba, for example, you cannot read Quran, right? But you still have to fast. Like for example, that's the question that we get all the time. Last year somebody asked me this question. We said, if you have the relationship with the wife during the night, and you get too tired, and you cannot make ghusl. I said it here, it is desirable, and this is mentioned in the hadith, that you go and make wudu, at least and you go to bed. Okay, but I'm in Ramadan. Okay, and I didn't wake up for Fajr. I woke up like 10, 11, 15. Ramadan is long, so we're going to be sleeping 30 hours during the day to make sure that we're not hungry. So you wake up at 9 o'clock. What's the ruling? I'm in janaba. What's the ruling on fasting?
You have to fast.
I have to fast, but what's the ruling on that fasting? Is it valid or not?
Valid.
It is valid. So the janaba does not stop you from the salah, from the siyam, and from the ittisal al-jinsi ma'a al-zawja, or from having the relationship. However, the hayd, it's very important that we explain to the sisters during the hayd, even 1 drop before Maghrib, even 1 drop of bleeding before Maghrib, the day is gone. She has to make up for the day. And the problem is, and this is, I'm not sure if it's common over here or not, but it's very common in our, back home with our old ladies, they get so shy to break their fast during the day. Because she has little kids and you know what, well, we used to make fun of them, to be honest with you. If we see one, like she's hiding and eating a little bit or tasting the food, كنا بنفضحهم نخرج برا, you go outside, I saw a lady like she's not fasting. So out of this, they do a very bad thing. They're thinking that it's good, it's wrong, and it is not the right thing. That they fast the whole day while they are in the state of hayd. They fast the whole day. And then, you know what, at the end of the day, they might drink some water. No, it's not the right thing. From the beginning of the day, you're fasting, and it has to be clear to the sister, your fasting is not valid. You have to break your fast, and you have to make up for those days later on, inshallah ta'ala, and this will be something that we'll be talking about in a moment, inshallah ta'ala. But the thing is, the woman cannot pray, the woman cannot fast, the woman cannot, according to most of the majority, what I personally prefer, cannot read the Quran or touch the Quran during the time of hayd and the time of nifas. That's what we talked about, inshallah ta'ala. And tawaf, unless if tawaf فيها trick. يعني if the tawaf al-fard, if we're talking about the tawaf al-fard, and she's going to miss the rukn, she can make tawaf. Not, but tawaf al-qudum, tawaf al-ifada, she has to do it because it has a limit, a time limit. She can do it even she has the hayd. We'll explain on that inshallah later on. وفي العمرة كمان she has في العمرة بقى ايه بتعملها ازاي؟ She has to wait if the woman is making umrah and she has hayd or nifas. We say is that the best opinion or the right opinion is that she has to wait until the end of the time that they can stay in Mecca. That's the last 2 hours they stay in Mecca. If she's still bleeding, she can make tawaf. That's for umrah. But for hajj, tawaf al-ifada has a time limit. She can't say, you know what, she cannot postpone it to next week or next month. She has to do it at a certain time. So she can do it. And there is a hadith about that. Okay? One of the things which is highly forbidden, touching the woman during the hayd of the nifas. It's very bad. And some people, by the way, you know what, I never imagined that it happens. But some people, they came to my office before, not here in the north side, and they were they're complaining from that. Some people, that's I don't understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's haram. And there is many hadith about that. So, however, a man can enjoy with his wife everything except the relationship. Okay? And you can slap her in the face, or something like that. If you want to enjoy that. And the
kafara for it?
Huh?
You want to mention the kafara for that?
خلاص بنتكلم عليه في وقتها.
Okay.
So, okay. طيب اغتسال طيب. There is a type of blood that it's not hayd, it's not nifas. So the sister, she knows that she's not in her menstruation period, or she's going over the 15 days and still bleeding. That bleeding is continuous for 3-4 months. What should she do? Should she say, you know what, it's a blood? It's blood coming. No prayer, no fasting, no hold. That's what we call istihada, or bleeding. And usually, it comes because of a disease. There is something wrong with her. She has to be seen by a doctor, and she has to get medication for that. But meanwhile, has to be a ruling on that. Okay, her period finished. Then after that, she knows that this is my normal period is done. Then she has to make the ghusl and start doing everything. She can pray, she can fast. Actually, in Ramadan, for example, she has to fast and she has to pray. We can't say she can. She has to fast and she has to pray during that time, the time of istihada. However, when it comes to prayer, she should deal with it differently. For example, you can make wudu now from Maghrib. In normal cases, that we don't combine Maghrib and Isha right away. And Isha is after 2 hours. You can make one wudu and pray Maghrib and Isha later on, you're fine. As long as you can make wudu. If the woman has that bleeding or istihada, she cannot do that. She has to make a wudu for every prayer. Number one. But when she prays, she can pray as much as she can. Like she want to pray Isha and Salatul Layl with the Isha and the witr with the Isha, she's fine. She wanna pray Maghrib along with the 6 rak'at after Maghrib, she's fine. She wanna pray Zuhr and 4 rak'at before Zuhr and 2 rak'at after Zuhr, she's fine. But it's one prayer only, along with anything around it of the sunnah around that prayer. But she cannot combine 2 prayers unless it is a time of combining, that she's praying Maghrib with us right now. And we combine Maghrib with Isha, she's okay to combine at that case. That's the only case, it's combining the salah, not praying them in a separate time. So that's the dam istihada, and it happens, as I said, if it goes more than 15 days, if she is sick and she bleeds, and she know that, and the woman for sure they know about that. يجب عليها الغسل إذا انتهى الحيض. She has to make ghusl when the hayd is over. She has to make wudu for every salah. And another thing, in case of istihada or bleeding, she has to make sure that she doesn't have blood at the time of prayer. Meaning that she cleans herself very well before the prayer. Right before the prayer, and she puts something to stop the blood, and then get rid of it after the prayer. These are only for the istihada, for the bleeding, not for the hayd, not for the nifas. Not for the hayd, not for the nifas. طيب. We talked about this before, is the salis al-bawl for the man, exactly like, what's اسمه ايه عند المان؟ نبى نسأل. Incontinence. Sometimes أنا بقى الكلمة دي سبحان الله مش جاية لدماغي خالص. ذكي رايت. منور. Sometimes, like the istihada, a man has, he cannot control himself. It's a disease too. Like whenever you go to the salah, خلاص, he went to the doctor and tells him, it's something happens. Yeah, خلاص, you're sick with that. Drops coming out of you, urine, drops of urine. It's a sickness. Not when you go for every salah, you feel a drop, you leave the salah and you go make wudu. No. Hold on. The same thing. You clean yourself very well. You spray some water, fresh water in your underwear before you come to the salah, and you make wudu for every salah. That's if you are sick. Not it happens one time, like you come to prayer and you didn't make sure in the bathroom that you clean yourself well. You didn't do the procedure that we talked about it before, so it's your fault here, and you have to redo that prayer. You have to go redo the wudu and redo your prayer. So that's.
Can he lead the prayer?
No?
Can he lead the prayer?
Yeah, he can lead the prayer. What's wrong with that? He can lead the prayer as long as he knows the ruling on that. Okay? طبعا I have some hadith about it, but I want to just keep it that way, and we'll open it for question. 10 minutes for questions, not more than that, because we don't want to stay here until the real time of Isha enters, and then we'll be in a real problem. تفضل يا أخي.
What about if she didn't, there's no law,
مش ما سمعتش، ما خدتش بال حضرتك. ماشي.
Is it for a man only or?
Absolutely for a man and woman يا أخي. ليه بتفرق بينهم؟ Yeah. Until the man, but in this case, she prayed, she fasted, and then the man comes, خلاص, she has to take the ghusl shar'i for that. She doesn't find water. Yeah. So that she's traveling. Let's put it this way. She's traveling with her husband. Both of them, they don't have enough water to make wudu or ghusl. The tayammum stands for ghusl. All what she needs to do, we said that when we talked about tayammum. Tayammum works for wudu and ghusl. If you don't have water for wudu, you can make tayammum with the conditions that we mentioned. If you don't have water for ghusl, you can make tayammum. In both cases, you're fine. That applies to the man, applies to the woman, wallahu a'lam.
Okay, that's like for men, it's acceptable. Like for a woman, like what about siyam? Like bad period, and after the period, and she didn't find water, she can use.
She has to fast, because now, after, let's say that the water is not going to come for a week, and that's in Ramadan, for example, and everybody make time when that early. They are confined somewhere, and they're locked in somewhere, and they don't have water. She has to fast, and then after that she make wudu, but she doesn't have to make up for those days, because she is فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. So the tayammum is a full tahara. And I mentioned before, by the way, about this. Like, if somebody in a status of janaba, remember the hadith that we mentioned about this? Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, when he met the Prophet ﷺ one day, then he met the Prophet ﷺ, then he left. He didn't say Salaam alaikum, he left right away. But Nabi ﷺ asked him, why did you do that? You left and you didn't say salam to me. He told him, I was in a status of janaba and I didn't like to say salam to you. فالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال المؤمن لا ينجس. Mu'min, even you are in that status, you still you cannot say that the mu'min is impure. It's just a cleanliness that you have to go through, a process that you have to go through. So the same thing applies. If I do tayammum, then exactly as I did ghusl, alhamdulillah, I'm okay, and then I have to fast. Then after that, once the water exists, then إذا وجد الماء بطل التيمم زي ما احنا بنقول. Okay? Any other question?
So it's not really a question, but more, I guess, of a dialogue, I guess. But the question is, what it is this. Oftentimes here in North America, people talk about how the woman is seen as impure in Islam. And I think you just answered that issue in the fact that what we're saying here is the Prophet in this hadith, this situation with Abu Hurairah, the Prophet is telling him that the movement in and of himself is always in a state of purity. It's what he or she is doing is actually just to gain purity to do with active worship. So they in and of themselves are still always pure, but what they're doing is they are gaining the ability to do with active worship, prayer, fasting, whatever. So it's just it's an observation about the
Absolutely, it's a very good point, and it brings up another point. And here is a psychological thing that you need to deal with. The mood of the woman at that time. Absolutely, everybody suffers from his wife during that time. Like they have. So I was giving. I had a presentation around 2-3 weeks ago with the APS, and I was talking about the who are exempt from the prayer in Islam. Who do you think is exempt from prayer in Islam? By the way, that's a question for you. No, I'm talking about somebody who's in a state of mind. Like he's okay. Yeah, بالغ عاقل Muslim, everything. Who is exempt? It's only the woman. ما هو احنا قلنا بالغ خلاص خدنا الأولاد برا. It's only the woman, right? When you think about it, it's only the woman. You cannot be exempt from the prayer. Like you cannot pray standing. You pray sitting. You pray lying down. حتى even twinkling your eye, you can pray. But the woman only. Then for sure, I have some ladies over there, and then they don't fast sometimes. I explained on that, and then said why. Subhanallah, when you think about it from a scientific point of view, it's too much blood coming out from the woman and gets her weak, physically and psychologically, which for sure she needs your help and support in that. Not to support her, just to be patient with her if she says something or do something that you don't like because of this. So my answer was this, that it is enough what she has of the psychological and the physical burden. So Islam is telling her you're exempt at that time. Take care of your body, take care of your health, and then once you're done, you go make up for the fasting and prayer, because it is like every day it's going to be hard. Like every month you make up for the prayer, you're totally exempt from the prayer at that time. SubhanAllah. There is wisdom behind that, and has to be discussed with the wife sometimes, because they like that. When you feel that, and hatta there is something here that I didn't mention, that they said that hatta the fuqaha, when they talk about that blood, they said له رائحة نتنة. At the beginning of the bleeding of the postnatal or the menstruation, it's a very bad smell. If I show that that you don't like it and you're avoiding your wife, you're putting more burden on her. You have to take it easy with her, teach her and learn from her. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يعلمنا ما ينفعنا وأن ينفعنا بما علمنا. تفضل يا أبو
طبعا
Yeah, that's another point, that if her period stops, still you cannot have the jima' or the relationship with her until she makes ghusl. Because difference between the seas of blood and the ghusl means that cleanliness, the full cleanliness.
What's the role of taking medication to stop the period?
No problem with it at all. No problem with it. Unless it's harmful to the body, that's something else. But if she wants to fast the whole month of Ramadan and she's taking something for that, she's fine. Okay, inshallah ta'ala, we'll see you next week for a different topic, inshallah.
Same for the Hajj, actually, if they're going to Hajj and the Hajj is coming in specific period and they know they can
Absolutely, no problem with it. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.